Good morning, everybody. We are talking a little bit about simplifying radicals today. Before we start, I want to talk about two things. One, why we're doing that. Our goal here is to make the number under the radical as small as possible. The radical is this little square root symbol right here. That's the radical. And then in order to do this, we need to factor the numbers under the radical sign into prime numbers. So we're going to do something called a prime factorization tree, where we just break those numbers down into their factors. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with this first one. It's the radical of 8, and what I want to do is I want to stay under this radical sign, but I want to break 8 down into its component parts, right? So 8 divides into 2 and 4 breaks down into 2 and 2, and I can't break it down anymore. So basically, I have 8 breaking down into the radical of 2 times 2 times 2. Now, if I can find a pair of the same numbers, I can take that pair together and put it outside of the radical sign. So it ends up being 2 radical 2. And if I can't break down that number that's inside the radical anymore, then I know I've got the answer. All right, let's try this again with radical 32. Some people have a really good idea of how to break down numbers so that they come out into nice square numbers. Other people struggle. So 32 breaks down into 2 and 16. 16 breaks down into 4 and 4. And of course, that's 2 and 2 and 2 and 2. Ooh, all right. So 32 ends up being radical 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Now I have 2 pairs of 2's, and those 2 can go on the outside. So I could say 2 times 2 radical 2. That one that's alone, he has to stay on the inside. This outside part here, though, that can be simplified. We can multiply 2 times 2, and we end up with 4 radical 2. All right, now you guys probably recognize the 49 as a square number anyway. 49 breaks down to 7 and 7. So 3 radical 7 times 7. This pair can go outside the radical, so you end up with 3 times 7, or 21 as our final answer. Radical 15 is a little bit of a trick. When I break down 15 into its smallest parts, I've got 3 and 5, right? But those are not a pair and they don't break down any farther. So radical 15 is actually already simplified. Next, we want to talk about how to multiply and simplify. When you have a multiplication problem that involves radicals, you can multiply the things that are under the radicals. So this can become radical 24. 2 times 12 is 24, right? And then you can break that down. You can do your factorization tree into, well, surprise, 2 and 12. And then the 12 breaks down into 2 and 6. And the 6 can break down into 2 and 3. Now, if you can see these pairs, like we talked about, in your radical tree, you know what can go outside and what has to stay inside the radical. So you end up with 2 radical 2 times 3. Now, you don't want to leave this unsimplified under the radical sign, so make sure you multiply it out. So 2 radical 6 is your final answer here. All right, radical 5 times radical 5. This is kind of a trick, you guys. The same number under a radical sign is a pair, and that pair can go outside. So 5 is your answer here. Right? And this is the same for any radical, right? If I had radical 2000 times radical 2000, the answer would be 2000. All right. Ooh, this has got numbers on the outside and numbers on the inside. So what we're going to do here is we're going to multiply the numbers on the outside together. So I'm going to multiply 2 times 3. And on the inside, we're going to multiply 12 times 3. Okay, well, let's get simplifying here. So this would simplify to 6 radical 36. And you should recognize 36 as a square number. So you would want to do something, or you would go ahead and say, okay, well, 36 is made up of 6 times 6, and that is a pair. So that pair can actually go outside of the radical. So you end up with 6 times 6, and your final answer is 36. All right, so all of the try these simplifying things on this worksheet, you'll be able to see on the teacher notes key that is posted in Schoology. So I'm not going to do those here for you, but hopefully I've given you enough information about how to simplify radicals that you feel confident doing it.